I came across this awesome card game on Kickstarter and I reached out to Witty Games who've produced it and asked if I could grab hold of a review copy to share with you. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at Cannibal World, the card game, and we're going to jump straight in and have a look at this prototype box set that they kindly sent out to me. So I'm really excited to share this with you. I saw the artwork, it came up in my Facebook feed, and then I went and had a look at their Kickstarter, and it just looked awesome. And so in this video, I'm going to take you through all the components that they've included in this prototype, give you a real good look at the art, because that's the standout feature for me. It's just fantastic, real nostalgic style, and it just looks great. And I think this is a fun little game that you could pick up and play with your friends and family. Now this is a prototype, so this isn't exactly what you are going to get, but as a prototype goes, this is looking fantastic. Really well stylized, great use of fonts, and it clearly tells you exactly what's going to be included here. It'll contain 200 tarot-sized playing cards, which are really nice size for the game, 50 cardboard counters, you're going to get some quick ability guide cards and the rulebook as well. And then you're going to get all the different cards for 4 factions. And this is right up my street. It's got dogs, rats, rejects and cats, and the rejects are going to be your human type characters. So that's everything that's included, and in the video we're going to have a real good look through each of these in detail. The artwork is all done by Oscar Martin, and Oscar Martin's a Spanish comic artist, and he's been involved on the Tom and Jerry and other Disney classics. And you may recognise Cannibal World from his gritty post-apocalyptic saga called Solo. And Cannibal World is going to give you some brand new illustrations, and it's all going to be based in that world. It's going to bring it to life. So if you recognise the artist, I think you're going to love this. Even if you don't, this is a fantastic looking game. I mean, just look at the box art on the inside when you open it up. That just looks awesome. And what a great thing to collect and own and play with as well. I think it would be great fun. Okay then, we've got it all out of the box, so we've got our instruction book there, our quick reference card, tokens, and then we've got the 4 decks, one for each of 4 factions. So let's have a look at everything in detail. I think we'll start with the instruction book. Later on, I'll show you the Kickstarter website, which shows a really good animation and showing you a tutorial of how to play the game, but we'll have a quick flick through the rulebook just so you can have a nice overview. Here it tells us that Cannibal World is set in a post-apocalyptic universe in which animals have evolved, adopting anthropomorphic characteristics. And the devastated environment has made it so the only way they can feed themselves is to consume meat, and that means they're going to be eating each other. This is for 2 to 4 players, 14 plus, and you're looking at a 30-minute gameplay. And on the back there, you can see the Witty Games logo, and then another nice pencil or pen arc on the back. Really well done. I'm certainly a fan of this ink with the red and the kind of brown colour sepia background, looking really nice. Inside we've got our components. That just repeats what we saw on the back, and then it lays it all out for you with a nice instruction there with the creature card and action cards. It's telling you what each component on the card is. You've got your faction icons, rank, combat and strength, illustration, author, card ID, ability symbols, and your card value. Then on this other page, you've got the setup, and this shows you exactly where you'll be playing and the space that you need to play the game. So you've got all these different zones there. Each player is going to have their habitat with a cover and hunting zone, and then a counter reserve as well. And as you'll see later on in the Kickstarter, they do have a mat, and a couple of mats actually, that you can play on with all the zones marked out. Now it takes us through the different steps that we have to take to start playing. So we're going to create our reinforcement deck, separate and shuffle the decks, place our counters, work out our player zones, draw our cards, and then there's also the option for a mulligan, and each player has the option to do a mulligan once. So once you've drawn your 6 cards from the main deck to start the game, you're allowed to shuffle their hand back into the main deck and draw a new hand of 6. Got some recommendations there if you're new, and then the victory condition, which is simply remove all opponents' creatures from play, hand and decks. As we turn the page there, you'll also see there's another victory condition, and that is destroying the habitat. Then we've got the gameplay, and this is going to take us through the different phases, the draw phase, the main phase, and the final phase. We're going to look at drawing cards and reinforcement deck, exhausted faction, types of damage, and you can also stun creatures as well. And then you can see here you're going to be placing tokens on the card, turning your cards on your mat as well. And then we've got different actions that the characters can carry out, and you can do any action in any order and repeat them as well, except for ransack. Then on the back here, it's got those actions that you can carry out on your turn, but also on your opponent's turn. So this is going to be a reactive game as well. You're not just waiting for your opponent to finish their turn before moving on to yours. You've got things to do in each stage. Next up, we've got the combat resolution. So this goes through declaring combat, dodging, activating our tactical abilities, resolving damage, and then it's got the abilities clearly labeled there as well. And on your card, you're going to see ability icons which have a color that indicates the type of ability related to when and from where you can use them, what triggers them, if they can be dodged, and things like that. This is certainly going to be a really helpful section. It's got your cover abilities, assault abilities, tactical abilities, and triggered abilities all in 4 tables. And these are also featured on this handy reference card as well. So you don't have to keep going in the book. Once you know the basic rules and the flow of the game, which won't take long at all, you can just keep this card out and refer to that for your abilities. You can also customize your decks. It does come with pre-constructed decks here, and you've got the option to customize those. And it goes through all the instructions of how to choose leaders, champions, restricted, and common characters. Some guidelines to follow. You can also play it 2v2 if you wanted to. So this is going to be a fun little game to play on a game night. You can get 4 of you playing at once, which is really cool. And then we've got the faction characteristics there, which I'll go through as we have a look at the cards. Then there's the FAQ section here, great to see. So if you've got any questions after looking at the tutorial on the website, then this is going to hopefully answer that. A glossary, and then on the back, we've just got a little bit more illustration. So there we go, that's the rulebook. Now let's have a look at the different card decks. So we've got 4 altogether. This is the first one, and this is going to be the rats. Now these come with 1 habitat card that we've just seen, and then we're going to go and flick through and have a look at the different artwork. Some of these are going to repeat. Again, this is the prototype. Make sure you check out Kickstarter to see exactly what's going to be included. And each bundle is going to give you loads of different extras as well. There's even another faction, card sleeves, things like that, and some limited edition artwork too, which is fantastic. And some big poster size, I believe, as well. But I just love the style of this game. It looks so fun, so characterful, and the art style is just brilliant. So this is something that I think would be a real fun game to play with your kids. It says 14 plus, so you're looking at what, teenagers there, but also with your friends as well. I think this would be a good game to pull out on the game night, have a go, and then yeah, I think you could really get people interested in this once they see how good the artwork is. Now, these are the rats. These are going to be our first out of the 4 factions, and let's have a look at their background. So these are going to be small, numerous, agile, and clever, and in Cannibal World, that translates to faint. They're able to damage the opponent while avoiding taking damage, and proliferation. They can rescue finished fighters to return to combat. It says here they're very skilled in combat, especially with knives and sword, lethal in hand-to-hand combat thanks to their speed, agility and small size, and they're very conscious of their place in the world, strongly persecuted by humans. They're going to be living in family groups or small villages led by a respected chief. Really nice, and you can see we've got different levels as we're working our way up. Those numbers in the bottom left-hand corner, that's the combat, strength and life. And as those numbers get higher, I'm finding here in this prototype, there's fewer cards that represent that number. Okay, let's move on to the next faction now. Now we've got the cats. Here's the habitat card for them. Really nice, setting the scene. And it says that cats are crazy and very aggressive. And in Cannibal World, that will translate to cat pounce. They can attack from the cover zone and swap. They're able to swap fighters in the middle of the combat. They're moderately strong, not very intelligent, prefer edged weapons, but don't refuse to use a good gun. And they live in temporary settlements. Their leader's usually the least stupid and the most psychopathic. Very aggressive, usually even in a stupid and crazy way. I think that definitely comes across in the characters here on the cards. I really like these placeholder cards they put in. Seeing it just done in the pen and ink there just looks great. But yeah, really mad looking characters, real fun. And you could certainly get a good idea of what this faction is all about just from this style. I really like how each of these factions has got two kind of main abilities or traits that they bring to the game, and Cat Pounce and Swap really fits in with the vibe here and is a nice one to go up against perhaps those rats as well who have got the feint, so they're able to damage the opponent while avoiding taking damage, but cats, they're going to be pouncing in and attacking from that cover zone, so covering more distance. Alright, now we're on to the next one. Now the dogs, and this is my favourite. I think out of all the factions, this is the one that I would like to play, and this is what really caught my attention when I saw the images coming up in my Facebook feed when I first came across the game. So dogs in Cannibal World are going to be strong, gregarious and loyal, and they're going to get two abilities or traits that are loyalty. They're able to sacrifice themselves in combat, and dog charge. They can rush for damaging more than one enemy per attack. They're brave, intelligent, noble, loyal. They're big and strong, both physically and mentally. And they're going to be forming organised clans that are respectful of internal hierarchies. Lovers of good weapons, they consider the knife the noblest because hand-to-hand contact is essential, more honourable than fighting at a distance. That makes sense. The dogs are going to want to get their teeth stuck into it, and they definitely look aggressive in these characters here. But really well done. Real nice faction, and these are the ones that I would want to play. Now we're on to the final one. These are the rejects. So these are going to be your human kind of characters. We'll start off with a habitat card, and then we're going to be looking at the different characters here. So we've got rejects are dumb, but they have some tricks. In Cannibal World, that's going to translate to reject tactics. They can manage to organise the cards for drawing and reload. They're particularly skilled, allowing the reuse of exhausted abilities. These guys are going to be dangerous criminals, unable to integrate into what remains of human society. They associate in gangs of opportunists, where the leader is the least stupid. So there's a theme here going through the factions. They're not going to be very skilled, which they make up for with access to junk dealers and using some underhanded tactics that they've learned from corrupted politicians. So there we go, another nice interesting faction. I think the four of them are a real nice mix, certainly something you could imagine in this apocalyptic world that's been created, and they're going to work really well opposite each other, I think. We've got one more thing to look at, and that's these tokens. You're going to get a load of tokens in here. They're going to be double-sided. You've got the meat token on one side and the damage token on the other. So there we are, that's Cannibal World by Witty Games. I'm really happy I discovered this and really grateful for them for sending out the review copy. This video isn't sponsored, but they did say they would send me out a bundle once the game is ready to be delivered, so really excited for that. But if I'll put a link down below where you can head over to the Kickstarter page and you can check out that really great tutorial that they put on there, and this is going to give you a good feel for exactly how the game plays. You can also have a look at all the artwork there, and then have a look at some of the other faction cards, expansions, the card protectors, mats, posters and more that they've included. So these bundles look really fun. There's an awful lot going on, and if you're a fan of this artwork like I am, then I think this is going to be really appealing. There's some great reviews on there already. Genders Gaming has covered it as well. I remember him from Stalingrad Z. He also did some great videos on that, so really cool to see that he's covered this game too. But for now, that's it for Cannibal World from me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. A little different from the usual Skirmish games that I cover, but I just couldn't resist it. It looked awesome. I really wanted to share it with you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. Look forward to seeing you here again next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.